Welcome to Student Connections, where our students connect with their community.
Hello, I'm Zach Cahill, and welcome to another edition of Student Connections. Our students have 4 very interesting guests for you today. We will learn more about the Port Huron Museum with Mrs. Bennett and meet Mr. Bakko from Wally's Supermarket. We will also learn more about St. Clair County Community College with Mr. Starkey. And finally, we'll talk about a group that makes mission trips to Africa to connect with our community. Now, let's get started with Carly Bouverette and Mrs. Susan Bennett from the Port Huron Museum.
Hi, and welcome to Student Connections. I'm your host, Carly Bouverette, and here I have with me Susan Bennett from the Port Huron Museum. Hi, how are you?
Good morning, Carly. Thanks for having us here.
Oh, not a problem. So when was the museum founded?
The museum was actually founded in 1970 by a group of volunteers. At the time, the museum was actually the library, the main library. And when the library moved to over on McMorran Boulevard, the building was empty, and a group of volunteers wanted to turn it into a museum, and that's what it is still today.
All right, and what are the different locations?
In addition to the Carnegie Center, which is right downtown in Port Huron, we've got the Huron Lightship in Pine Grove Park. We have the Thomas Edison Depot, which is right under the Blue Water Bridges, and the Bramble, which is unfortunately currently closed, but we're adding the Fort Gratiot Lighthouse in just about 6 weeks. So those are our different sites. We've got 4.
Wow, so there's
active.
Quite a few.
There's a lot. There's a lot to do.
And which location opened first?
The Carnegie Center. That was the main library that turned into the museum.
Okay, and what are your current exhibits?
The current exhibit is kind of a fun one. It's called Toy Tech. And Toy Tech was developed from the Discovery Center in Redmond, Washington, and it's a traveling exhibit, one that goes all over the country, and we were able to get it for this period of time. But it explains all of the technology behind toys. So for instance, the Magic 8 Ball that will tell your fortune, they've taken it all apart and all the pieces are there. You can see the inside of an old Nintendo. One of the popular ones is the inside of an Etch-a-Sketch and how that actually works. And then the other half of the exhibit, that's the part we rented. The other half of the exhibit was created by our very talented staff, and it includes collections of local citizens, including Barbies and trains and all kinds of really great stuff, all related to toys.
Oh, that would be really cool.
It is cool. It is cool. Thank you.
And do you have any new exhibits coming up?
We do. We've got a couple, actually. In June, we opened one called Farm Life, and this was developed by the National Endowment for the Humanities. It, too, is a traveling exhibit, but it really shows us all about the family farm and what used to be, and even 100 years ago, 42% of all Americans were related to something in agriculture. And in the 2010 census, it wasn't even enough to be a category of its own because corporate farms have taken over. But that's what really built our country. So we're delighted to have this coming, and that's going to happen June 6th.
That's going to be great.
I think so too.
Yeah.
There's enough people that are old enough to remember, and then there's people like your generation who never knew how much farming meant to our community. And Meyer is going to help sponsor that with some of their produce and such. So we're really looking forward to that coming.
And how are the renovations for the lighthouse coming up?
Well, if you've had Dennis DeLore here, you probably know that's a whole nother story. But the renovations are going beautifully. We're very excited. The duplex building, if I can point out here, that is going to open actually a little ahead of the rest of the site. We have overnights at the Light, which is a program where you can stay overnight and learn all about the history and all the programs that of the lighthouse. And we're starting that on April 27th. We're taking reservations, and we already have 30 for the summer. So it's an interesting project. All of the bunk beds arrived this week. We're going to be able to sleep 42 people in bunk beds. And there's an education center on the main floor where we're going to be able to talk all kinds of things, not only the history, but the science of the light, for instance, what the Fresnel lens is and how far out in the lake you need to be before you can see the light, and all kinds of fun facts.
A lot of people are probably going to be interested in doing that.
I hope so. We had a Bramble overnight, and that mostly scout groups and youth groups came, and they lived as the crew did. Well, because the lighthouse was a Coast Guard station up until 2008, those programs are going to transfer beautifully. So respect for the American flag,
right,
and calisthenics, of course, are an important part. So we're looking forward to it. We've got a great program lined up.
And what are your science programs?
The science programs, again, I just mentioned we're going to do some with the light and the refraction and how important that is and the curvature of the Earth. We've got another one about weather. weather spotting because that's so important on the lake. And those are the two educational programs that we have set aside right now for the lighthouse. But we'll be adding and deleting and tweaking for the next few months as we see what kinds of things that our visitors are interested in.
And are there any interactive history programs?
There are many. There are many. Probably the most interactive is when you get to climb 98 stairs to the top.
Oh, goodness.
And see, it's a 100-foot tower, and you can see quite a distance. It's an amazing, amazing view. And but it's surprising what you can see from there, and that will be the most interactive. And we've got other things, again, involving the weather, the science, the restoration of the tower, which was a major undertaking. Those were actually 1829 bricks. So 183-year-old bricks were taken off, and we've saved some of them, and they're actually being sold for a fundraiser. But all of that was replaced, and we're ready to go.
All right, and what other programs do you offer?
Well, we've got, at the Thomas Edison Depot, we've got a really popular program for elementary and early middle school called Wizard's Workshop. And the Edison Depot is the actual location where Thomas Edison worked as a young man. He worked for Grand Trunk Railroad, and he would leave the Edison Depot in the morning, go to Detroit, and come back. So there's actually history there too. But we've got Wizards Workshops that include all of the things that Edison was known for: communication, magnetism, and electricity. And those are 2-hour workshops that mostly classrooms, again, elementary and early middle school come to. And then with each exhibit we have, we develop a whole different set of programs, both educational and what we call family programs. Family programs are presented every weekend, and they cover a wide variety of topics that are all relevant to what the exhibit is at the time. So it's quite exciting. We've got a very talented staff that researches, and for those in the education field, all of our programs meet State of Michigan GLICs. So if you are a 4th grade teacher, you can either call or go on the website, and we'll tell you exactly which GLICs they meet. So it becomes a real valuable learning experience.
Well, it seems like you guys do a lot. How do you give back to the community through
Well,
that?
we think that our mission is not only to preserve the history. We have an extensive collection in everything from bricks and photographs to old ships and pieces of shipwrecks in our maritime collection, to the McMorran collection, which of course the McMorran family lived here, and their endowment built the McMorran complex. But we are the keepers. We are the stewards of the collection and the artifacts. One of the things that we've been concentrating on the last couple of years, we have a lot of stuff. And some of this stuff may or may not be relevant to what we do. So we're kind of culling the collection a little bit with the hopes that at some point we can add to it and buy some things that are important to the community. But that's how we give back, and then presenting really reasonably priced programs and exhibits for locals to see.
All right, and is the museum run by volunteers, or do you have a staff?
We actually have 6 full-time staff. We've got 2 more full-time that are added seasonally, and maybe 3 or 4. So let's say there's 12 people that are actually on staff to run the 4 sites, and the rest is staffed by very talented volunteers.
And if you want to be a volunteer, how would you get involved in that?
Well, we have a couple different programs, but the first thing you do is make a call to Anita Vardy. She is our volunteer coordinator. Maybe some of you know her sons.
Right.
And she does a great job. We've got actually big training coming up for the Lighthouse, because before you can serve at any one of our sites, we have an extensive training program. And we'll get you set up. It's very flexible. Whatever hours you can work, what days you can work, we'll work around it. But I think that's an important part of the community service as well.
At Pine Grove Park, I hear there's a big activity on Memorial Day. Could you tell us more about that?
I would be delighted. Actually, that is the Feast of the St. Clair. And the Feast of the St. Clair is now entering its 32nd consecutive year. So it's been going on for quite a while. And the feast is an event whereby we have reenactors, 700 of them, that come and set up their tents and perform all kinds of activities and demonstrations for the 2 days of the feast. And we're highlighting Michigan life from 1740 to 1820. And there's specific camps within Pine Grove Park. There's the French explorers, there's the British military, there's an Indian camp, and all of these interact, and everything is very authentic. One of the reasons it's lasted 32 years is that everything is authentic. You know, a lot of the reenactors won't use buttons. It has to be linen. There's no rubber-soled shoes. The only thing that is current day is, of course, food service. But it's a fascinating activity. There's a special kids center where they can dip candles and do face paintings and those kind of things. And a big part of the feast is all of the entertainment that is brought in. There's Celtic dancers, there's fife and drum from the time, and all of this is very authentic. And it's quite an experience. Last year we had 5,000 people come, 700 reenactors, just 2 days, the Saturday, Sunday of Memorial Day weekend every year. Pray for sun.
And what are your prices for visiting the museum for anyone that wants to go?
Well, an adult price is $7, and a student or senior price is $5, and kids under 4 free. But probably the best way to see it is using the passport. And a passport is simply a $20 adult fee, and you can visit all 4 of our sites once. So that's a really economical way to go. And then we've got a full range of memberships, which are annual, and then you can go to any of our sites and attend any of the programs at no membership.
All right, and what are your springtime hours?
We're open 11 to 5 every day. That's at the Carnegie Center. Starting Memorial Day, we will be open 11 to 5 at all sites, and the Lighthouse will be 10 to 6. Every day, 7 days.
All right.
Even holidays.
Well, I'll definitely be staffing
Well, I
in.
hope so. We're proud of what we do, and we think that this is really, the Lighthouse especially, will be a needed boost to our entire community.
Definitely. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Carrie. I enjoyed it very much.
Not a problem. That's all for now on M6, your hometown station.
The American Legion. We're a powerful force for the nation. We pledge ourselves to our veterans, our youth, a strong national defense, and Americanism. These 4 pillars shape our work and what we do for America. We work relentlessly within our 4 pillars of service, and we succeed. We're committed to making sure all veterans receive the benefits they deserve for the sacrifices they've made in service to America. We support and promote citizenship and integrity in America's future leaders. We know what policies, tools, and manpower our military needs to protect this great country. We fight to get these things done. We're patriots through and through. We promote and defend these values every day in communities across the nation. Go to legion.org to find out more about the American Legion's commitment of service to America.
Tough economic times have not stopped Mr. Bakko from running a very successful business. Now we're going to learn more about Wally's Supermarket.
Hello and welcome back to Student Connections on M6, your hometown station. I'm Charlie Donahue, and here with me today is Mr. Wally Bakko from Wally's Supermarket. Thanks for coming in today, Mr. Bakko.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure.
Of course. So Mr. Bakko, how does Wally's compete with the other larger supermarkets in our area?
We concentrate on customer service.
Yes.
We make special deliveries for our customers.
Very nice.
No other supermarket does. The way we charge and we take care of our customers. Plus we have another service. This is for all the moms and dads that they are very busy, young or old or whatever. If you call in your order, we pick it up for you. You don't have to spend 2 hours in the grocery store dragging the kids.
Oh,
and,
very nice.
You get
yes.
everything on your list. And plus we don't charge you for that service.
Oh wow, that's
So,
really great. You know,
Nobody else does.
Oh yeah, and even like a pizza delivery place who would deliver, they still charge, but unlike you, that's very, very nice. And as you were saying about those deliveries, what are the conditions for those? Are there any specifics?
We ask the customer to have like a $40 minimum order.
Okay.
That's all, and then we most of the time we deliver the same day, if not the next day. So it's very, very convenient.
Very nice.
Doesn't matter if you're old or young. A lot of people feel funny about grocery delivering, but I always say, like you said, you can ask for a pizza to be delivered. We deliver groceries.
Yeah, that's very nice. It really is very helpful for the community, as you said. So recently you've switched from stamps to cards for community services. How did you come up with the idea for the stamps?
Well, it was an old actually idea, had a little bit of nostalgia behind it. And then here, listening to our customers, we always try to listen to our customers.
Very good, yeah.
So we can serve them better. A few of them, they were kind of like, too much hassle or whatever. So we came up with the card. And with our card, really, it's a bonus card. when you come to Wally's, you get everything in the ad on sale. You have the card or not.
Very nice.
Other stores, if you don't have the card, you don't get nothing on sale if you don't have it. With our card, there's few items that they are extra special. We ask you to have it, so you build like a loyalty for our store.
It's very nice. Yeah, all those accommodations for your customers. No wonder you guys are doing so well.
Thank you.
So how did you get into your line of business originally?
Originally, my couple of my brothers, they worked in the supermarkets before.
Okay.
Actually, I have a mechanical engineering degree. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
But there was an opportunity back in 1979 when we first moved to Marysville, and probably you were not born yet.
No, actually.
I joined my brothers and my dad, and we opened a grocery store in Marysville way back in 1979. And then after that, I kind of just learned through management and through Spartan stores and other stores, went into business, and that's how kind of grew up in the customer service business. My dad always owned a restaurant or worked in a restaurant.
Yeah.
So we always knew how to take care of people.
That's so great.
Thank you.
So how has the business been since the recession?
For us, it's been steady. You
Good,
know, I mean, I'm not saying it hasn't affected us, but it's been steady for us.
Very good.
Sometimes during summertime we kind of go up a little bit. More people coming into the area. So, but it affects every one of us really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But we've been holding on, and it's been steady. So
very good to hear. Yes.
Thank you.
So are you planning to start any new projects to give back to the community?
You know, most of the time we get, you know, the schools, the athletics, or you know, like AYSO or the Little League. We always try to help those type of projects. Plus, a lot of times we get people that they come in and that they are asking for a fundraiser, you know, like American Legion or the school, through the schools and through churches. We try to help everybody that we can.
It's very great.
Thank you.
So what gave you, back to the deliveries, what gave you the idea to start doing those actually?
Well, we thought that there's a lot of older people in the community that we were hearing that there was a lot of shut-ins. And so that was one of the ideas. The other idea was the young mom and dad, you know, that they are busy working.
Yes.
And instead of spending time at the grocery store, why don't you spend it with your family, leave the work for us.
Very nice.
And we take, so that's plus nobody else was doing it. We wanted to do something that nobody else does.
Yeah.
So those are the things that kind of made it materialize for us.
And it definitely shows too, keeping in touch with the community and making sure, you know, accommodating your customers again. So obviously it's your name, but what inspired that name, Wally Supermarket? What was the final decision in that?
There's, you know, kind of being, I'm the oldest of 7 kids. So, and it's a tradition type of thing, you know, like, you know, being the oldest, kind of you get everything, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
So, and I was chosen to be, plus a lot of people in the community know us through other projects and getting involved. So it was just something that helped, you know, kind of putting the name up there.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
So why do you think it's important to give back to our community?
Well, we feel that you live in the community, you contribute to the community.
Yes.
And that's the way we were raised.
Yeah.
And so to us it's very, very important. We give, and when you give, really, I don't know what it is, but it feels you're receiving. That's how we feel.
Definitely.
Okay, so that is the way we were brought up, and so when you give, it just feels great.
Yeah.
And and if you get or not get, you don't get, that's some. I mean, the feeling inside, we already are receiving. So that's the way it is.
That's so great. You know, it's a great fundamental principle to be brought up with as well. So how do you feel being so close to Meijer? I know it's pretty big.
It is big, to be honest with you. I mean, it does affect us. Plus, they are on TV 24 hours. We don't have that big of a budget. I mean, sometimes you wish they were not there,
Uh-huh.
but the fact is they are there,
Yeah.
and we do things that they can do. For example, our meat department, people drive 30 miles away,
Oh, wow.
just because it's fresh and the prices, we beat them 20, 30%, sometimes 40%
That's fantastic.
every day.
Wow, that's great.
So far we haven't had any recall in the product that in our meat department. When you're talking about health and for your family,
Oh, yes.
this is the choice. So people come to us, so we compete that way. So we offer things that they can't offer. Our bakery department, it's all scratch bakery.
Oh, very nice.
Again, I had people calling in from Mount Clemens. Do we have
wow.
another branch over there? I said, no, you got to come over here. And they do. Same thing in our deli. We make the best roast beef anywhere. We make it there so it doesn't have any additives or preservatives. Just everything is natural. So we do things that they cannot do.
That's great.
Unfortunately, they are there and they're big and they have other things. So we do what we do and they do what they do.
Well, yeah, well, all that success, you better start franchising pretty soon, too,
Thank you.
So how has the bakery, as you were mentioning before, and the flower shop improved your business?
Actually, the bakery, like I said, it brings people from all over.
Yeah.
They do everything. They do wedding cakes, birthday cakes, cupcakes, you name it. They make. If you think of any bread that you like, you go to Nick and ask him. He'll probably make it for you the next day.
That's great.
So it's an asset to the store.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Unfortunately, the flower shop, the people moved away.
Oh,
But we
okay.
do have another lady in there that she have like a boutique and stuff
Okay.
like that. So we fill that space. So it's good.
That is really good to
Yeah,
hear, too, that
thank
you can
you.
still able to do that.
Yeah.
So are there going to be any new changes coming in the future that our viewers at home should be aware of?
Some of the changes we try to do, we just did a little bit of changes in our aisles.
Okay.
We try to watch what the customers are doing, would make it more convenient for them.
Oh, yeah.
So we made a couple of those things. And we're thinking also maybe, going to more energy saving lights. I've been talking
Okay.
to Edison. So that will help, saving energy plus
Oh, yes.
a cost. So those are some of the things we're trying to do.
Okay, that sounds really
Yeah,
good.
thank you.
So how has the video store connected to Wally's improved your business?
Actually, it's helping both of us.
Oh, good.
They now, as you can imagine, because of the internet and whatever, the video, they shrink, so they want a little smaller space. So we provided for them that space.
Okay.
It's working out great. Plus, we have an interest between both of us, that we don't have to go in and out. It's helping both of us, and it's been, fun for both of us. People that goes to the video place sometimes, they might think of snacks or movie and popcorn,
Oh, yeah.
So and they come in, and so we help each other.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been really nice.
Oh, and it is too, like you said, a great idea, especially somebody looking for a snack with the movie.
Right.
It is a very good combination.
Thanks.
So, are there any employment opportunities available at Wally's?
We always are open for opportunities for somebody to come in. We take their name and number, and we always kind of say, if something comes up, because you never know.
Yeah.
We always try to accommodate our employees. We treat them better than ourselves.
Nice, very good.
It's like a family and more. And sometimes, somebody might change their mind due to family or other opportunities. So you never know. We always keep it on, we keep the information on file, and you never know what happens. So,
Very great to hear. Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much
You're
for
very
coming
welcome.
today, Mr. Bakko. It's
Thanks
been
for
nice
that.
talking to you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Of course. We'll be back with more Student Connections after these messages.
Look, Mom, no skis. Oh, no fish.
Falls on TV can be entertaining. Falling at home can be devastating. Each year, 1 in 3 Americans over 65 falls in their own home. breaking bones and shattering lives. For older people, any broken bone can be serious. A broken hip, potentially lethal. To make your home as fall safe and bone friendly as it can be, visit orthoinfo.org/falls. A public service message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, where staying on your feet is doctor's orders.
Having a strong community college in our area has helped many residents reach their educational goals. Mr. Shawn Starkey from SC4 gets us up to date on the happenings at the college.
Welcome back to Student Connections. Today we will learn more about SC4 with Mr. Starkey. Wow. What is your job at SC4 and how long have you been there?
I started at SC4 in 2005. I'm the Executive Director of Public Relations, Marketing, and Legislative Affairs. So that means I work with the legislators on college issues. I handle all of the marketing and advertising for the college, and then any communications that go out both on campus and off campus.
Okay. How many students are enrolled in SC4?
For this winter semester at SC4, we've got 4,500 students on campus.
What is the tuition for one credit, and how many credits is a full-time student?
Beginning with fall semester this year, tuition is going to be $94.50 for a contact hour, and that's how we measure credits at SC4. And if you're a full-time student, we consider that 31 contact hours, and so that's between the fall and the winter semester that you're taking a total of about 31 contact hours.
Okay. What are the most common programs taken there?
Our three top programs for last fall were liberal arts and general education, nursing, and business.
How many people work at SC4?
When you take into account all of the employees, including part-time staff and including instructors who teach only part-time, it's about 460 employees.
I understand you have full-time professors and adjunct teachers.
The difference between a full-time professor and an adjunct professor at the college is full-time professors are somebody who it's their full-time job at the college, and they will teach a number of classes each semester. Our adjunct professors may teach only one class a semester, or they may teach a couple, but it's not their primary job, and so they might work in the community at a full-time job during the day, for example. Maybe they're a lawyer. Maybe they work in the medical field, and because of their expertise in that field, at night they teach as an adjunct professor to our students, and they bring that experience that they have with their full-time job to our students as an adjunct professor.
Do you have any renovations being planned?
We actually have a major project that's going to be starting. Our commencement is on May 4th, and the week after commencement, we're starting what we're calling our McMorran Greenway and Street Closure Project. We're actually closing a section of McMorran Boulevard that's adjacent to our campus between Erie Street and River Street. We're going to be tearing out the street, and we're going to create a quad, if you will, or a green space. It's going to help us to give a more defined front door to the campus. So there's going to be a large sign welcoming people to the campus. It's going to be a place where students can walk back and forth between classes without having to worry about the traffic on McMorran Boulevard. It's going to provide much more greenery to the campus, and we think it's just going to be a more campus feel for us.
I understand that you have alternative energy like solar power on campus.
We do. We have a number of alternative energy projects. SC4 is actually a leader in the state as far as alternative energy projects. We have solar panels on campus. We have a wind turbine on campus. We have a solar hot water system on campus that actually helps with the hot water in our Atchison Technology Center building. And then in addition, for our north building, it's actually heated and cooled with a geothermal heating and cooling system. And the way that works is we have pipes that are under the parking lot, and water is pumped from the north building to these pipes under the parking lot. And depending on the time of year, either the natural warmth or the natural coolness of the earth underneath the earth cools that or warms that, and then we send that water back into the building, and that's how we heat and cool the building.
On an average, how many students graduate each year?
The average is about 650 students that we have eligible to walk in commencement each May.
What are the requirements to get into the school?
Because SC4 is a community college, we're what's called open enrollment. So we give everybody a chance to come to college. So that means that if you apply to SC4, you're going to get accepted. We don't require ACT scores or other things, but we do use ACT scores or other testing scores to help place people in their first math and reading classes at college. I will say that there's a new law this year, and beginning in July, you have to have either a high school diploma or a GED to qualify for financial aid.
What classes can you transfer to other colleges?
The way a community college is set up is our students are taking the same freshman level and sophomore level classes that students at four-year colleges and universities are taking. So it's the same kind of classes. Our goal is to have as many classes as possible transfer for a student. Sometimes depending on what the program you're going into and what your major is going to be at a four-year university, it may depend on what classes they'll take for actually being part of your major classes. We always encourage students to meet with our academic advisors on campus, and then to also meet with the academic advisors at the four-year school that they're looking to transfer to make sure that they're taking the right classes that will transfer into that major program.
Okay. What makes SC4 different from any other colleges?
Convenience, location. We offer classes when our students need them. So for example, we have a number of students who go part-time or who have to work or who also have families while they're going to school. And so we make our classes convenient. We offer day, afternoon, and evening classes. We offer weekend classes and online classes. Our class sizes tend to be smaller than those at four-year schools. So our average class size is about 20 students per class. And our professors really care. We've got professors who are actually teaching in the class, so you're not going to be taught by a student assistant or a teaching assistant. You're going to be taught by a faculty member, and they really care about our students and their success.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be back with more after this.
You may be eligible for a credit on your electric bill if you experience lengthy or frequent service outages. To request the $25 credit, contact your electricity provider. For more information about the credit and tips for surviving power outages, call the Michigan Public Service Commission at 1-800-292-9555 or visit their website at michigan.gov/MPSC and click on Consumer Information. A public service message from the Michigan Public Service Commission.
Half of young Americans can't locate economic powers like Japan and India. 20% can't even find the Pacific Ocean. Without geography, our children aren't ready for the world. Understanding connections between people and places is critical. So we created mywonderfulworld.org. Go there now for your free action kit. Help kids understand their world today so they can succeed in it tomorrow.
Hope Endeavors is a local organization that reaches across the globe. Mrs. Darcy McLane tells Blake Sauer about their experiences with mission trips, both near and far.
Welcome back to more Student Connections. Blake Sauer here with Darcy McLane of Hope Endeavors. Thanks for joining us, Darcy.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start easy. What exactly is Hope Endeavors?
Hope Endeavors is a 501c3 charity. We founded it in 2005, whose main purpose is to serve children who are suffering in extreme poverty.
Well, that's good. You said something about a 501c charity or something of the sort.
Yep.
Sorry, forgive my pronunciation. What exactly does that mean?
It means that we're an organization that has been approved to give tax deductions for charitable donations. So it's an IRS requirement. But the purpose of what we do is to help children who are suffering in poverty. We have partners who are in Africa and Asia that we support.
Well, that's really good to know. That sounds exciting. Where do you guys travel for most of your things?
We like to take short-term missions teams where we get groups of people from here and we take them to the Philippines, where we have a partner that works with the Ida Children's Home. We also have an orphan care center in Malawi, Africa called Hope Village. Hope Village is a care center for children with HIV/AIDS.
Well, that sounds really nice. How was the organization started and how long has it been in operation?
The organization was started in 2005. It was started with a couple of our friends who had served in the Philippines for 23 years, working with Aida children and the Filipino people. And when they came back to the United States, they wanted to do more. And my husband and I had also traveled to Asia and Africa, and we saw the need and needed to do more. So we founded the organization so that we could help other people get involved with the things that we are doing.
Well, it's good that you were able to get inspired and inspire others to help out with the cause. How does Hope Endeavors raise money?
We do fundraisers as the primary way that we raise money. We do anything from selling African-made handbags to pottery to jewelry and necklaces. Through our website, we do speaking engagements where people make donations. We do fundraisers as far as we're having our first annual 5K run this spring on May 19th. So we're asking everybody in the community to come out and support that, where they can run for $20 and support our mission in Africa.
Well, that's good. It looks like you have a lot of different ways to raise funds for the children. What has been your most beneficial project so far?
One of the projects, we had actually two, if you don't mind, I'll tell you about two. One is Hope Buckets. Whenever we go on a short-term mission trip, we always want to visit the individual homes of the people that we serve, so we take them a gift. And the gift is in the form of a Hope Bucket. A Hope Bucket is basically just a plastic pail that is filled with basic necessities of life. So it'll have a bag of rice, a bag of sugar, cooking oil, seeds, toothbrush, toothpaste, a towel. So for $20, someone can provide one of those buckets to a family that's caring for an orphan or a child who has HIV/AIDS. That's one of the primary ways that we raise funds.
Well, that's good. You mentioned that, there's often trips. How many volunteers usually travel out of country at each trip?
We like to have 10 to 12 people on each team. So it'll range from having children from the age of 10 all the way up to people in their 70s have traveled with us on our trips.
Well, that's cool, getting people from all age groups to participate.
Yes, and each group can be multi-generational. It's always fun to see that interaction.
And you mentioned the Hope Buckets. What other types of supplies are sent to the people in need?
Last year, with the partnership with the Rotary, we were able to send a 40-foot shipping container, so a big rail car that was filled with 30 computers, 150 bicycles, you name it, it was in that container. And we shipped that from here all the way to Africa, and then we took a team over to distribute the goods that were inside the container.
Well, that's all really impressive that you guys are able to organize such big things. Who is in charge of Hope Endeavors?
We have a board. The board is made up of myself and my husband, another couple, Mike and Denise Bruman, and Bill Richards, and we're all local people here who have decided to join on the board.
Well, that's really good. It's locally run and everything. That's pretty neat. What was your initial reaction when you first traveled to Africa?
My first reaction was I felt like I had traveled back in time. I couldn't believe that it existed in the same time and space as we were in, to see the extreme poverty and how people lived. No fuel, no electricity, very, very basic life, no communications, no cell phones, no gadgets. But I noticed how happy they were even without all of the things that we have, but that they needed us to come alongside of them and help them, especially with medical supplies and health care and food and those types of things.
Yeah, it's amazing how cultures can be so different sometimes.
Exactly.
What is the most rewarding aspect of playing a part in Hope Endeavors?
For me, it's just seeing the smile on a child's face. When we first started going to Africa, the children, especially the ones at the care center, were very sick. They had HIV/AIDS, and while they had been starting their treatments, food was not always available, nutritious food was not always available, so they weren't prospering. Now that the care center is up and running and supporting their needs by providing not only the medicine but also the nutritious food and the care, when I went back last time, you can just see they've gained weight, they're happy, they're healthy, they're running and playing. So just seeing the children's increased health.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have a specific favorite memory of helping people through Hope Endeavors?
Oh, there's so many. I don't know if I could narrow it down to one, but I'll try. Part of the shipping container project that we did was when we sent over the shipping container, we sent the playground set from my backyard that my children had used, and now that they're older, they didn't play on it anymore. So we disassembled it and put it in the shipping container and sent it over to Africa, and we reassembled it there. And just when it was finished and we saw like 60 kids on that play set at one time, you know, my play set had never seen 60 kids on it at one time. Just seeing their joy that they were able to have fun, and it wasn't all about cooking the meal, getting the water, finding the wood, that they actually got to enjoy life as a child.
Yeah, that's really nice that they get to experience the same things that your children got to experience.
Exactly.
You know, you mentioned the 5K earlier. Are there any other projects coming up?
We do have we have the 5K, which is May 19th. We also have a trip to Africa. It leaves June 6th and will return June 19th. Part of that, for people who want to get involved, we are collecting donations to do the Hope Buckets, which I talked about earlier. For a $20 donation, they're able to send a bucket full of basic necessities that we will give to the patient families.
Well, that's really good. I mean, obviously there's the donations, but how can other people get involved in the organization, like going on trips and whatnot?
Through our website, hopeendeavors.com, you can apply to go on our trips. We have people who sew things, sewing blankets, sewing dresses that we then take over. Any contact can be made right through the website, and we'd be glad to get you involved.
Well, it sounds exciting. I can see why a lot of people want to get involved. What kind of impact do you believe Hope Endeavors is having on the world so far?
We really do believe that we're making a difference in the lives of not only the children that we serve, but also the communities in general. We call Hope Village because it stands for Helping Orphans, Prospering Everyone. By building the care center there, it not only helps the orphans, but it's changing the lives of the whole community. They're able to access medical care through the clinic, through the kitchen. All of those projects benefit not only the children, but also the communities, and make a better world.
Well, that's all really great to hear. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for all the help that you're giving to the children.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We'll be back with more right after this.
They've stormed beaches and freed countries. Protected the weak and defeated the strong. Shown courage and compassion. They've raised our flag and our hope. They've been called leathernecks. They've been called devil dogs. But above all, they're called Marines.
I always pay more than the minimum balance on my credit card.
I just opened an education IRA for my kids.
I never invest more money than I can lose.
How are you saving for your future? Find out more great ways to save for your future and choose to save.
I hope you enjoyed meeting all of our guests today. Be sure to stay tuned for future episodes of Student Connections, where our communication arts students connect with their community.